So this is Louis, and we got to 5 takes. Hey, welcome back. This is going to be a forcefully tempered, lazy review of Casino Royale. I did not expect to hate this film as much as I did, because I thought I had seen a portion of this film, but I forgot. I confused it with Quantum Solace, which I also hated. This is an anti-Bond film. Like, this is straight up The Last Jedi for Star Wars. This is the same thing for Bond. I don't understand for the life of me. I had some of you recommend this film to me. Were you doing it to troll me? Because this movie was not only not a Bond film, it was an anti-Bond film, but also it was not a good film. This was a bad film. This was a poorly written film. And I was surprised that I haven't seen it before. I haven't seen even really clips of it. I must have been confusing it with Quantum of Solace and just forgot about it. But I don't know what to tell you. I hated it. I really, really hated this film. And I did so because it has turned one of my most beloved franchises, and it's, this is a film from 2006, but this iteration of Bond has permanently altered the Bond franchise to the point of no return. Like, it's like, what was the last Pierce Brosnan one? The World Is Not Enough. Like, we have reached the bottom of the ocean. The submarine is crashed, and it's about to overheat or whatever, and it's going to explode. It's like that. It's the Titanic hitting the bottom of the Atlantic. Like, we have reached rock bottom. And maybe No Time to Die will be even worse, but I don't really want to see it. I don't really want to see yet another terrible Bond film starring Daniel Craig. I think, and I strongly think, that Daniel Craig's iteration of Bond is the absolute worst. The absolute worst. Actually, no, 1999, there was Die Another Day with Pierce Brosnan. I just remember that wasn't the last Pierce Brosnan one. It was Die Another Day. Daniel Craig is the worst Bond. This iteration of Bond is the absolute worst one. And I don't care if you're talking about Brosnan, Dalton, Moore. I don't care which iteration you're going to go to. This is the absolute worst one. Bedrock worst. Because the only one that was even passable as a film was Skyfall. What's funny about all this, about Solace, Royale, Skyfall even, is that all this led up to Spectre. All of this was building up to Spectre. And Spectre is the absolute worst one. Spectre is the worst fucking film out of all of these. And all of these films are leading up to that. I will never, ever, ever get over the fact that some of you listening to this disagree that this is the worst iteration of Bond. I fundamentally don't understand what you're seeing in these movies that I'm not. Because these movies are not even good action films. I can't think of a single fucking action movie that I'd not rather watch than that one. Like, crappy kind of B-movie action movies, like Air Force One with Harrison Ford. It's a decent action movie, but it's kind of like a B movie. It's just in that 90s era, late 90s, I believe by that point, with Harrison Ford, like where he's in all those Tom Clancy movies and he's doing all that. They just kind of flow together. It's not like The Fugitive. It's not really like a standout film like that. Air Force One is just kind of a generally okay action film that's memorable for people that watched it in that era. It's a movie I've also seen like 200 times. I'd rather watch that movie for the 201st time, because I know I'd enjoy it, than ever watch another film starring Daniel Craig. Ever. I don't care what the circumstances are. I never want to see him in Hollywood again. I never want to see him in a film again. Not even in a cameo. This guy sucks my fucking ass in terms of his acting. He sucks. He sucks in these films. He sucks generally. And yet this is the only fucking franchise or any film I've ever seen him in. Has been these fucking god-awful anti-Bond films. God damn, dude. I don't get it. I don't get you. This is my thing. I don't get you. This movie isn't even a good movie. It's not even a matter of it not being a Bond movie, because I'm more than willing to give Skyfall a pass. I own Skyfall. But the fact that every single one of these, like, they're just progressively worse except for Skyfall. It's the only break in the trend of absolute fucking dog shit in this iteration. And yet, like, I don't get it. Why the fuck am I alone in this? Why the fuck am I alone in saying that Daniel Craig's iteration of Bond is the absolute fucking worst one? So, at the beginning of this, before I watched the film, I sat down and I was like, I'm going to create a checklist of what I expect out of a Bond film. Because I went for a walk, thought about it, like, what, you know, I'm going to watch this film. What do I expect out of a Bond film? And I got back, and I'm not even going to tell you this. Fuck you. I'm not telling you what's on my checklist. I wrote down 15 things. 15 things that I expect from a Bond film. That even if they are predictable, it's what makes Bond Bond. And I'm not telling you them. Save it for another time, or maybe I'll never tell you. Because apparently it doesn't fucking matter. If this shit is fucking Bond. None of the things were checked off. None of them. And so, at one point, early into the film, I'll tell you one, it was after the crane parkour bullshit. I was like, you know what? This is going to be as bad as Quantum of Solace. This is going to be just as forgettable. This is just going to be a shit film. Axe the checklist, because I figured nothing was getting checked. And nothing was checked. Instead, I created 2 columns I'm going to tell you about here. Column A is Bond, so aspects that are like a Bond film. Column B is not Bond, aspects that are not like Bond that are in the film. So there are things that are like Bond, and I'm going to read them to you that are in this film, okay? Charming a secretary for information. That's like Bond. Impossibly good at gambling. That is like Bond. Slipping a bomb onto a bomber. That is like Bond. All the poker players are charmed by Bond in a very subtle way. That's like Bond. Slowly charming the tsundere love interest. That's Bond. But you know what I'll do is cross that off. Because we're going to get to not Bond in a second. And I was wrong about that. Bond quips about almost dying after returning to the poker table. That's like Bond. Wins the game. That's like Bond. Although he can lose as well. That would have been fine. But I wrote that underneath there because, hey, he wins. Whatever. It's kind of like Bond. He wins. Not Bond. So let's go down this list. The completely over-the-top, absurd, nonsensical crane parkour section. To where I'm watching it, and I start laughing. Because I don't understand what's happening. This guy's climbing up the crane. He's jumping from one crane to another. I'm like, why did he climb up this building and onto the crane? This doesn't even make any sense. Why the fuck do this? It didn't even slow Bond down. Why did he do that? The crane parkour section was fucking stupid. That and the embassy shootout, it made me feel like I was watching a Fast and Furious movie. And I mean that. I mean that. It was so stupid and over the top in a generic action way, I felt like I was watching a Fast and Furious movie. So if you've watched this film and you like it, I assume that you like Fast and Furious too. And I mean Fast and Furious TOO, not TWO. Because it's shit. Risking getting caught over a car theft. That was a stupid scene. Because the characters are played straight. They run into Bond later, and they don't do anything. Even though he damaged their car. The characters are played straight. Bond doesn't say anything to them. They don't say anything to Bond. It doesn't make any sense. if they're a comic relief character, if Bond charms them, if it's just for the sake of levity, then it's like Bond. That happens in Bond films. Comic relief character, Bond gets along with them or doesn't or charms them, that's Bond. This didn't make any sense. Why would he risk getting caught like that? And part of the embassy shootout that I didn't like, and this is the next part, exposing himself to the public in an embassy, getting caught, getting publicized, that is hella not Bond. Getting spotted while mirroring a random foe, the bomber, that's not Bond. There are circumstances where he could have been blown and compromised and seen that could have been like Bond, where it's something else at play, or it's an accident, or something happens, or, comic relief character goes, James! Like that. And then the guy realizes he's being followed. That would be more like Bond than Bond fucking up and getting caught by some random ass fucking nobody. That is not Bond. I wrote this halfway through the film, and this is when I realized that this film sucked fucking ass, and it was not a Bond film. I wrote down, okay, halfway through the film, all right? What are the stakes? Question mark. What are the stakes of this film? He wins, he loses. What does it matter? Okay, you found the terrorist. You found the terrorist financier. Arrest him. Grab him. Exfiltrate him. You remember The Dark Knight? Exfiltrate the fucking financier. If we're going to play this straight, why not just do that? Because the guy isn't even really the central antagonist. Like, there is no central antagonist. So yeah, I wrote that down halfway through the film. What are the stakes? Why should I care? What the fuck even is this about? Win or lose, what does it matter? Why are we quibbling over $5 million? Who gives a fucking shit? This is stupid. There's no stakes. He gets away, he doesn't, okay, whatever. He's some financier for terrorists. Like, they're not going to find somebody else? There's nothing at stake in this film. I find that to be a commonality among all these shitty Daniel Craig films. Next one is Bond gets outsmarted with an obvious tell. I predicted it. Bond should be more clever than me. Not Bond. Bond is poisoned and requires outside help to save his life. This would have been forgivable if it wasn't to set up a stupid element of the film. Him checking in with command every other fucking second is stupid, and this was another moment of that. Checking in. Hey, I'm going in, I'm having cardiac arrest, and I fucked up on my defibrillator. Well, tsundere waifu has to help me out. Not Bond. Dumb as fuck. It was a setup and stupid. Not Bond. Goofy as fuck torture scene. I cringed my way through it, and I don't, for the life of me, understand why it is not a meme. Bond joking and laughing about getting his nuts crunched. How is that not a meme? I get that this film is from 2006. How are any of you taking this movie seriously? It was dumb as fuck. It was like watching... It was so over the top, too. It was like watching The Wicker Man. What was the name of the movie? Where he's got his head in a... with a cage of bees. Oh, not the bees! Blah, blah. It's the same shit. It was just as over the top and ridiculous. It was dumb as fuck. Fucking Daniel Craig overacting. Oh, you got it! Blah, blah. What the fuck? What the fuck? I was like, what the fuck am I watching? I wrote down and crossed out because I realized right after I wrote it what it was. Because I was like, what's with all these setups with the tsundere waifu? What's with all the setups? What's all of these setups? I don't get these setups. I wrote down sudden romance / love angle. And I wrote that down. And I paused the film. And I was like, where are they going with this? And I'm like, it has to be that they're setting this up. There's 20 minutes left in the film. She has to be double-crossing him. This has to be one long-ass fucking twist. And I was like, it has to be. 20 minutes left in the film. What are they going to make out for the next 20 minutes? No. So she's going to double cross him. Because what was the primary antagonist, he's fucking dead. So I wrote that down, immediately crossed it out, and then the next one is the biggest one. Not Bond. Bond getting seduced. Bond getting successfully duped entirely and going all the way saying, oh, he had to tell, but you don't, baby. It's like, Jesus Christ, film. I already know that she's going to double cross him, but thank you for that ridiculous, retarded, fucking, like, it was even worse than all the characters announcing what was being bet, how much the pot was. Like, it was dumber than that. There's a lot of money in the pot. Thank you, movie. That was a big bet. Here's the dollar amount. Thank you, movie. The only person in the fucking film that should be commenting on the amount should be the fucking dealer and no one else. Bond getting seduced, not Bond. And finally, I wrote down random suicide. Unexplained suicide. There's a formula to Bond. You can be liberal with it, but you have to follow it. You gotta have me checking these boxes, because if I'm checking none, then you're not a Bond movie. You're not a Bond movie. I don't enjoy it. I can go back and watch all these films and enjoy them. There's even a bunch on here that I'm not even that, favorable towards. But I watch them, I appreciate them. And that includes films that are debatable. Diamonds Are Forever. It's the last Sean Connery film. Let me double check that. Yes, it is the last Sean Connery film. It still follows the formula. It still follows the formula. And I can appreciate it. Any of the films that include Blofeld, I enjoy. Because you know that there's something at stake. You know there's a greater plot at hand. You know that there's something going on here that's worth watching. That it's interesting. That it is a spy film. It's over the top. It's crazy. It's James Bond taking on this massive criminal organization looking to fuck up the world. I guess I'm alone in this. I guess I'm fucking alone. I guess, like, all the previous Bond films are shit. No one appreciates them anymore. So you're going all the way back to the 60s, the early fucking 60s, all the way to, what was, let me find it, 2002. That was the last Pierce Brosnan movie. 60s all the way to 2002, those movies, fuck them. They're done. They're dead. Fuck them. Fuck the formula. Fuck it all. And the generic is absolute shit. Garbage fucking Daniel Craig films. Those are what Bond is, apparently, to people. Like, I don't get it. I don't fucking get anyone that defends these films remotely. The only one that came close to being a Bond movie, the only one was Skyfall. Because it had an actual fucking central antagonist that was worth the shit. All I can say is anyone that defends these fucking awful films, I hope it was worth it to watch the absolute shit that was Spectre. I hope it was worth it for this god-awful series to lead up to that absolute abysmal film. I hope it was worth it. The fact that it's continuing on, I can't even believe that. I don't understand it, because it's like Spectre was supposed to be it. And yet they're still continuing. They're still continuing with fucking Daniel Craig. They're still continuing with what they're doing. It's unbelievable to me. It's like, this shit wasn't bad enough. You got to keep going. You have to keep going with this. The last one wasn't bad enough. You got to keep going. Fuck me, man. I'll just never get it. I'll never, for the life of me, understand that as bad as people say Pierce Brosnan was, all those movies were, I'll take all of them. I'll take every single Pierce Brosnan film over any of the Daniel Craig ones. Name one of the Pierce Brosnan ones Dalton, Moore, any of them. Name any of the Bonds that people question. Moore, Dalton, Brosnan. Any of the films. Compared to any of these absolute garbage, generic Daniel Craig films. The thing is, like I say, there are Roger Moore films that I don't really like. Dalton, I can't remember if I dislike them. Oh, I know, I think I dislike License to Kill. I think that's the one Dalton one I dislike. I can't quite remember offhand. But I think I dislike License to Kill. But it's been so long I don't remember. However, I'll say that I quibble over GoldenEye. A lot of people really like GoldenEye. I'm okay with it. I really like Tomorrow Never Dies. I would say that out of the four Brosnan films, that is my absolute favorite. And I think that is very much a Bond film. Because it has stakes. I shouldn't be writing down on my notepad, what are the stakes halfway through the fucking film. I should know in the first 5 fucking seconds of the film what the stakes are. Because so many of the best Bond films will tell you what the stakes are. It's the only one where that doesn't happen, where you eventually figure out what the deal is, as Goldfinger, which is, in my view, the best one. Again, liberal with the formula. But so many of the films introduce at the beginning of the film what the fucking stakes are. It's a nuke. It's you're getting cosmonauts captured or some shit, like nuclear war. You know what the fuck you're watching the movie for. You know the reason why Sean Connery or any of the other Bonds are running around killing people. Why Sean Connery's turning Japanese and marrying a Japanese woman. It's because the world's at stake. And he's getting Jap pussy. It's 2 birds with 1 stone with fucking Sean Connery. Why is it that I fully understand Sean Connery doing whatever he has to try to save the world? But I'm watching a Daniel Craig movie, and I'm halfway through the fucking film, and I'm writing down, what are the stakes? I am not watching any... Unless you people pay me, I'm not watching any more of these films. So, if you guys want to go on my Subscribestar, I should have introduced that at the beginning, but fuck it. If you want to go on my Subscribestar account and pay me to watch the next shitty Daniel Craig film, then perhaps I'll consider doing it. But if you guys are like, oh, I hate these reviews, fuck you, Louis, oh, Casino Royale is great, fuck you, all the previous Bonds were shit, but fucking Daniel Craig is the best. Even though fucking Casino Royale is the last Jedi of James Bond. It subverted my expectations. Unless you people pay me to watch these films, I'm not watching anymore. I hate Daniel Craig. Why, dude? Daniel Craig hasn't wanted to be Bond since, I think, Casino Royale or Quantum of Solace. I think it was all the way back with Casino Royale that he hated being Bond. And here's a hint for you, Daniel Craig. You're not Bond, and you're not playing Bond. You're playing a generic action character named James Bond. You're not James Bond. And the thing is, too, like, I give a pass to all of them. I give a pass to all of them. Everyone, Brosnan, Dalton, Moore, all of them. Even the one guy's name who I forget from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I don't remember the name of the fucking character. Or the actor, rather. I'll give a pass to all of them. But Daniel Craig is not Bond. He's never played Bond. Even in fucking Skyfall, he's just a plank. He shuts the fuck up for most of the movie, and that's probably why he's most like Bond. Is that he doesn't act in the film. He just stands there. Ugh, goddamn. I'm just going to end it there. How long have I been talking? Oh, I shouldn't have watched that movie today. I was already in a kind of a crappy mood today. And I was like, all right, well, I'll watch this movie. It won't be that bad. It'll just probably be a generic action movie. It'll be okay, I told myself going into it. I was just like, oh, God. As soon as I saw the parkour sequence on the crane, I was just like, Ugh. Ugh. So bad. So fucking bad. Anyways, this is Louis. This has been my lazy review. Go subscribe to my Subscribe Star. Go pay me money. People ask for content. Here it is. If you disagree, fuck you. Thanks for listening.